For some tips on avoiding holiday shopping scams, we're joined by Dan Casey of Bridgeriver Advisors. Thanks for coming in this morning, Dan.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's start off with the scams. At this time of year, heading into the holidays, is there any particular scam that people should be aware of?
So back when you were sliding your card, it was called the skimming, where they would put the thing in and steal your number, and then they put the chip in the card, and they thought they were going to fix that. So then it became shimming, where they figured out how to get your card for that. So really that's the worst way to do it. The best way is to use your chip card, but use the tap.
Tap.
So there's no numbers being transferred like.
And that's nice and simple, too. I like that. That's the simplest way to do things.
Yes.
So, you mentioned a couple there. Are there any other general scams that are like near the top of the list that people should be aware of?
Usually they come in the form of emails or texts. So you always got to be wary of those. I always say if like a great ad comes through, a great sale for like Amazon or something, go directly to Amazon. Don't click the link from the email or text, because that's usually scammers put fake websites up and have these great deals. And
they're so hard to differentiate between these days, too.
They do a good job.
The scammers have done such a good job of mimicking like Amazon sites and whatnot. That's why it's always key to also look in the address bar to see if it's Amazon.com.
Totally. And you look for that little lock in the
lock.
Yes,
that's
to make
right.
it encrypted.
So now just circling back to the first question where you said it's best to use your tap. What about cash? I mean, is that just the #1 way we can make sure we're not getting taken if we use cash?
That is the #1 way, but I don't know if you're like me. I don't want to take a wad of cash to the store, but yes, that is the best way to avoid getting scammed. Yes.
So cash is king, but we still seldom have it anymore. It's not really king, I guess.
Yes, right.
All right. So what should consumers do if they have been scammed? What is like their first point of contact after they find something has gone wrong?
Yes. So your bank, whatever card that it happened with, shut down that card. Of course, put on the fraud alert. Maybe even going to the credit reporting companies, and you can get alerts now when something happens on your credit report of any kind. You get a text, emails. So, and putting that fraud alert on there, make sure that anything that's new, you'll get alerted, so you can get right on it.
I find today we're so quick to give over information, especially online. When we're buying something, it's like, oh, you want my SSN? Sure, why not? And it's always things we're told never to do. But what should people really take into mind, or what should consumers figure to do when they're trying to secure their online profile?
So I guess just making sure that, of course, everything's secure on your browser. Of course, the padlock we talked about. Making sure that you're not using a public Wi-Fi system at all. Of course, it seems like a no-brainer, but if you're on a public Wi-Fi, people can steal your information really easily. So that would be probably the #1 thing.
Okay, so no public Wi-Fi. And then when it comes to personal finances, the same kind of thing? You always want to make sure you're not on that public Wi-Fi?
Yes, public Wi-Fi.
Now, how far does this go? Does this go like if I'm in the airport on the airport Wi-Fi and I want to check my bank account? Is that even what we're talking about?
That's about as public as you can get, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that is pretty public. I guess I should know better than that.
Yeah.
All right, I don't need to know my balance that quickly. All right, is there anything else there, Dan, in a general sense that will help people heading into the holiday season to avoid scams or help kind of secure their personal information?
So, of course, during this time of year, that's when the predators come out, because there's an urgency. There's, of course, I'm not the guy, but the dads that are at or the husbands that are at Christmas Eve at the malls in the sense of urgency, right? Trying to shop. That's when you get taken advantage of. So you want to make sure that you're, that you're just watching your back when you're in line and whipping out your card and things like that. Just common sense stuff.
So many things to think about these days when we make a purchase. It should be so simple, but it's not. All right, Dan, thanks a lot for dropping by and helping us through the holiday season as the spending really starts, I guess, on Friday. Black Friday. Everyone wants to spend.